So hi everyone. Here I'm going to introduce you to what we're calling the maximum occupancy principle and how we can use this to have generative models of realistic behavior. And to do this, I want to show you a quick animation of two cart pole balancing systems, two different agents doing different things, and you can see that they're having two different strategies. And I hope that you will agree with me that one of them looks a bit more natural than the other. So I start with a very simple observation, which is that life moves. So by that, I simply mean that the environment around us provides energy, and we just spread it around. So we probably all noticed that in that sense, natural agents have a tendency to move, explore, and interact with the environment. For example, fetuses, they spontaneously move in the womb. Babies move around their limbs in a motor babbling. And toddlers, they explore with curiosity. So why is that? The usual story goes like this, right? So movement and curiosity are good because it leads to learning about the world. And learning about the world is really good because it leads to higher rewards in the long term. And this is consistent with the theory that agents are reward or utility maximizers. But is that the case? There's some problems that we found with the idea of extrinsic reward maximization. For example, in natural agents, the usual experiment in neuroscience goes like this. So that you have an animal that you, for example, water restrict, and then you design your task so that this animal follows the water, right? But why should the experimental rewards align with the goals of agents? And this is particularly important throughout the course of a whole experimental session. And in the case of artificial agents, we have this question of what reward should be. Sometimes our design reward functions have unintended consequences. For example, this person's hair that was eaten by the robot vacuum cleaner while she was sleeping. So here we introduce the maximum occupancy principle, so we turn kind of the story around and say that basically there's an intrinsic motivation to occupy action state, pad space. And by that I simply mean that agents will want to take many actions and visit many states in the world. And to formalize this, you can just define a Bellman equation as the value of a state simply turns out to be that the immediate occupancy is given by the entropy of your actions and the entropy of the states given actions, and plus some future occupancy. So this is very important because agents will care about future occupancy. So they're going to be naturally curious and explorative. They will have a survival instinct. So dying is really bad because it doesn't let you occupy future action state paths. They will have a preference for empowered states because of this preference towards high action availability and high state availability. And there's this nice connection with the observation that behavior and neural circuits are highly variable, which is the content of Chiara Mastrogiuseppe's talk, Spotlight talk yesterday, and her poster. And finally, we can also model some risk sensitivity into there, which is really nice. So for example, if you have on the left maximum occupancy principle agent that is moving in this grid world, has some energy reservoir. So when this energy reservoir is depleting, it wants to go get the food, but otherwise it's kind of moving around. And so to echo Professor Sternet's talk, there's high variability when it doesn't matter. And compared to a reward maximizing agent, that has some variability baked in, which is kind of high, this epsilon greedy agent, even though coverage is not the objective, it kind of covers around the arena really well. So I've shown you the example of the cart pole, and to see it, to visualize it a bit better, we can see it in angle position space, how this mop agent sweeps around these paths compared to a survival maximizer. And finally, we can scale it up into this ant environment where a mop agent is moving around really nicely and vigorously, whereas a survival maximizer just, it learns to just stay put. Okay, so as takeaways, I would just like to mention that reward maximization is a hypothesis about what we think is meaningful for the agents, and that intrinsic motivations help us have principal objectives for behavior. And our particular approach spotlights the importance of stochasticity, both for actions and states, but the constraints recover the deterministic behavior, so that these agents are capable of goal-directed behavior without the need of extrinsic reward. So with that, I'd like to thank the other authors of this work, Dimitro Gritsky, Chiara Mastro Giuseppe, Yamin Habib, and Ruben Moreno Bote. And my poster was yesterday, but I think I'll have a bit of time tomorrow. Thank you very much for that, if you want to talk more about this. So thank you.